What's going on, everyone? Welcome along to this week's Premier League review or Premier League roundup, whichever one you prefer. Now, this afternoon we'll be taking a look at the matches that took place today and the outcome of some of those matches. We'll also look on what this means for teams such as Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Manchester City, and Chelsea, who are fighting to reach in the top four for this week. Now, this has been a pretty interesting round of matches. Today we had Brentford taking on Brighton, we had Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, Man City and Everton, West Ham and Southampton, and the final match of today was Aston Villa versus Newcastle. Now, started off pretty well. Brentford put Brighton in an absolute split. Now, it was pretty interesting at the beginning of the match. However, after receiving that red card early on, Brighton never really had any answer to what Brentford was throwing at them. I mean, Embuemo, he was on form today. Mitoma came on in the 81st minute and scored to kind of bring a bit of life into the game. But by then, the legs were going in the Brighton players, and Brentford duly and rightly so finished them off later on in the game. Crystal Palace and Bournemouth drew 0-0. These two teams have been playing pretty well since season and fighting to get into the top 10. And that's where they will be. Bournemouth have a chance to get into Europe, into the Europa League or the Conference League. However, I would put it at the Conference League because those teams are pretty much fighting for higher accolades. And to be frank, they won't be making it. So Bournemouth stick to the Conference League. Manchester City left it late, and it was like the late show from Man City, scoring two late goals against Everton. Everton defended very well and could have had chances to go ahead and take the lead and possibly get something from this match. However, poor finishing cost them. They can't blame the referees for this week's match, but it's their thing. Yeah, man, I did want them to get a really good cuffing Rakitic. I believe that had they gotten this beaten, it would have been much better for Man City, for Nottingham Forest to get into that top four race. And speaking of Nottingham Forest, they'll be taking on Tottenham tomorrow, but we will get to them soon. Alright? Now, Man City have their injuries and they have been doing well, and rightly so. They have been getting beaten. They have been getting beaten, and they should be getting beat. Because at the end of the day, if they do not get these beaten, I remember when they're spanking other people, they beat them good in. They beat them as well. Now, West Ham and Southampton played to a 1-1 draw today. I mean, Southampton are already down, but they will try and mash up anybody's plan. Anybody's plan. Southampton will be fighting. Southampton will be fighting. You know? Southampton will be fighting. Who's this? Southampton will be fighting to mash up somebody's plan, and they would have hampered West Ham today by taking 2 points off them. You still have your pride to play for, even though you're in a relegation scrap. So nothing bad, or much worse could happen as far as Southampton is concerned. Aston Villa and Newcastle, which were the match of the day. Now, these matches tend to be either pretty dull or pretty interesting, and it was on the interesting side today because Villa really came out and turned on the style to deliver a beating to Newcastle. And to be honest, we're not really sorry for Newcastle. They have their own ambitions trying to get into Europe. However, Villa has their own ambition in trying to get into Europe as well. And today, Villa came out 4-1 winners over Newcastle, making sure that they have their chance to get into the top four and also get a higher finish in the league. I mean, for every spot higher up in the league you finish, you get, I think it's an additional £3 million. So, and it's pretty good. I never expected such a big performance from Villa today. I mean, they really came out. They had tried their best to work on PSG the other day, and hadn't it been for some silly substitutions by their coach, Unai Emery, Villa would have been in the Champions League semi-final, taking off Rashford and John McGinn, who were playing pretty well. But he didn't make this mistake today. So him not making these mistakes today, it did show. Villa looked up for it, they looked fresh, and they put 4 past Newcastle. Newcastle had put 5 past Crystal Palace earlier in the week, so their goal difference took a dent again. However, well done to Villa. Looking at tomorrow's matches, Let's have a quick look at the matches that are up for tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8 we'll have Chelsea taking on Fulham. What are your predictions for that? Arsenal taking on Ipswich Town. Manchester United versus Wolverhampton. Man U will be at Old Trafford. Leicester City versus Liverpool. And on Monday, Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Fulham versus Chelsea. This is going to be a very tricky match for Chelsea. Fulham has their own ambitions of getting into Europe, possibly the Conference League or the Europa League, so they will be going all out for those points. I can guarantee Chelsea that. Chelsea also needs to get into the top 4 because after all that money that they have spent and invested, something should be shown for what Chelsea has actually spent. So if they don't get into the top 4, they will be in a lot of trouble. Arsenal versus Ipswich Town, and for Chelsea, I'm thinking 2-1 to Fulham. So we're going with Fulham on this one. As for Ipswich Town versus Arsenal, after what Arsenal did to Real Madrid, yes, we hate Arsenal. No, we don't want them to win anything. However, 3-0 Arsenal. They'll be putting Ipswich Town in a split, rolling them up, sending the Tractor Boys back to the championship. Now, Manchester United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I hope that we are winning this match. I hope we're winning this match convincingly. Control Z for me. I hope we're winning this match convincingly. Now, it won't be a full-strength team from Ruben Amorim. We cannot afford another injury to another forward player. So look for the reserves, look for the younger players to get a game for Manchester United, and look for a 2-1 win, Manchester United. And we owe Wolves one as well. Wolves definitely gave us a beating earlier at Molineux, didn't they? Yes, 3-0. 3-0 Wolves versus Manchester United. That's what they did us the last time. No, we can't accept that. Timidan, welcome to the live. Big up yourself. We can't accept that. So we need to make sure that we return the favor. Because Wolves, we owe you one. And this can actually give a bit of hope to the team that are down there. But no. Southampton, Leicester and Ipswich are going down. Speaking of Leicester, they take on Liverpool at the King Power Stadium. Liverpool have a chance to inch closer to their title. And with their team that they're having, they have no Europe, nothing else to play for more than just trying to finish this league in style. Now, credit to Liverpool. They won their matches early. They are now in their cruise phase. They've gotten some time to rest since they've been knocked out of the Champions League. And they should be smashing up Leicester. They will be smashing up Leicester. There is no way that any heroics can happen between Vardy or any of them. I think Liverpool will be giving them what they deserve. I say 3-1 to Liverpool. And for one of the most interesting matches of this weekend, Tottenham Hotspur versus Nottingham Forest. Now, if Nottingham Forest are not careful, they will not be in the Champions League for next season. They were doing pretty well, but after 2 consecutive losses, and Man City winning 2 consecutive matches, Newcastle being on a winning run up until today, Villa being on a winning run, and Chelsea being Chelsea, there's every possibility of Nottingham Forest dropping down to possibly 6th or 5th. And when Manchester United win that Europa League, possibly they'll be down in the Europa League or the Conference League for whatever reasons. However, Tottenham also would have their own ambitions and ideas. They are now through to the semi-finals of the Europa League and possibly will need to show their fans that, hey, we're still up for it, we're not cruising on the beach, we are here to play for you. And possibly for the coach. The coach is under a lot of pressure. Ange Postecoglou is under a lot of pressure recently because I think they've lost about 17 games now. But yeah, man, 2-1 win to Forest, that is what I'm hoping for as well. And yeah, Tottenham remain there in 14th. We do not want them to pass us. We're mud brothers for this season. So we and Tottenham will be fighting it out down there and fighting it out in the Europa League. I look forward to beating them in the finals as well. Now, a quick look at the table. Liverpool are out there on 76 points after 32 games. As I said, by the 33rd game, they should be, I think, probably 2 more wins from the title. Arsenal, they'll be winning that match tomorrow. I do not expect any surprises from not Nottingham Forest, from Ipswich Town, those Tractor Boys. Newcastle, beautiful run of form recently, 59 points and in 3rd place. Man City are in 4th, 1 point below Newcastle. However, Man City have a strong goal difference and they're building up that goal difference as well. Nottingham Forest, the team that we want to get into that top 4, whether it's 3rd or 4th, we need them up there. It's a beautiful underdog story, similar to Leicester in 2016. They're on 57 points after 32 games. Hopefully they're on 60 points and in third place after their 33rd game. Villa have now tied with Forest on 57 points as well. So if you look at it, from 3rd to 7th is just a 5-point difference. 5 points separate 3rd place to 7th place. Anybody slips are in trouble. Anybody slips are in trouble. Respect for you give Smiles, respect for you give Rakitic. Yeah man, big up on yourself. Now, with these teams from 7th to 3rd, we don't want Chelsea in that. Chelsea should not be anywhere near that. They should be playing possibly the Conference League or Europa League next season. Ralph, big up yourself. Welcome to your live. Aston Villa, if they continue on this trajectory, and they do have some pretty smooth matches as well. So for the rest of the week, or the rest of the season rather, Aston Villa do have a pretty good running. Bournemouth, Fulham, and Brighton, and let's throw Brentford in there because they're 3 points behind. They're fighting for the Conference League and the Europa League spots as well. Crystal Palace down there in 44 points, and for Manchester United to get anywhere in that top 10 is going to be a miracle. We're actually 10 points off. I'm calling it, we're not getting nowhere near that. Our only hope is to win that Europa League. Everton is tied on points with us. Good draw today, Everton. And down there at the bottom we have Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. Southampton's trip back to the championship has already been confirmed. They're on 11 points. They can't escape relegation. Possibly Leicester's fate can be sealed tomorrow. They have 12 points to play for, which can only get them up to 30 points. I think they're relegated. Yes, after yes, they will be relegated, if they're not already confirmed. And for Ipswich, Arsenal will be signing their death warrant tomorrow. So, well tried Ipswich. We will also be taking Liam Delap from that team, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense to even waste your time at that club. Come on over to Manchester United, learn some football, learn some quality, and play possibly in the Champions League for next season. A quick word on Manchester United for the Europa League. We need to win it. We need that cash to reinvest in the side. We also need to ensure that the bragging rights are there as we won another trophy. Hopefully the rivals do not win anything this season. Nothing for Arsenal. Newcastle has already won something. We do not care about the noisy neighbours. We cannot do anything about Liverpool that is winning, unfortunately. But as I said, kudos to Liverpool. They did their thing early in the season. So alright, they've caught us on 20 league titles. But it is up to us to ensure that this does not happen again. That this runaway that Liverpool has orchestrated this season under Arne Slot does not happen again. It is embarrassing and unbelievable. Unbelievable. Jurgen Klopp was there until he ran out of breath. He had to leave the league, and here comes this newbie winning the Premier League in his first season. There was even talks of a quadruple. There was even talks of a quadruple being done by Liverpool. Thanks to Newcastle for getting rid of them out of the Carabao Cup finals. And I think it was Plymouth Argyle who dismissed them from the FA Cup. Well done to those teams. I think Plymouth Argyle is about to be relegated as well, but at least you will say you put a damper into Liverpool's season in this one-off season that Arne Slot is having. As far as the defending champions Manchester City are concerned, it was a woeful showing for them this season. They didn't do anything much to defend their title. They lost their tooth, they lost their canines from pretty early. Injuries played a major part in it. Now Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. They did invest about 150 million in January. However, those players will need to take time to adjust to the league, which gives us some time to also invest and hopefully catch them up further on in the league as well. Chelsea is always Chelsea. They've spent $1 billion. I don't see where that money was spent. I don't see those players. They did get some good players. However, those players have been loaned out by Chelsea, and to be frank, I don't see where they're performing. There is a goalkeeper at Strasbourg that is performing pretty well for Chelsea. So look for that keeper in their squad as for next season. A few other persons, they might go on and sell them. Mikhailo Modric, he's a flop. And Nkunku has been another flop, just to name a few. And if they don't win that Conference League, the banter on Chelsea is going to be something else. Out of this world. The banter will be wicked. Tottenham Hotspur has been having an awful season, similar to Manchester United. They started off pretty well, spanking teams here and there, scoring a lot of goals. However, Tottenham don't draw games. Tottenham either wins or they lose. And that's what has affected them throughout this season. I mean, having such a beautiful goal difference in 15th, everybody below there has a minus goal difference. Below Brentford has a minus goal difference. Manchester United is trying to work on theirs, but I don't see where it's gonna come back in. I don't see where it's gonna come back in. Now, looking forward to next weekend's round of matches. Some teams will be getting back their players fit. Join us for the next one, and also for the FIFA EAFC tournament and career mode. We'll be live in about 10 minutes to resume that. Thanks for watching, everybody.